Hi all, hope you're safe and well. Back again with Beyond the Field of Play vodcasts. Really appreciate all the feedback so far. It's been great to see that everyone is engaging in them and taking bits from them. Really excited by today's guest. Again, former Worthing College student, former men's football player, quite a robust fullback. I'm sure he's going to tell you a lot about his playing career as well. But also, he's now taken on some amazing challenges, and this guy's mindset is up there with one of the best I've seen, definitely. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all today to Russ Cook, aka the hardest geezer. So Russ, great to see you today, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Top man. So like with all of these, and again, hopefully what we get out from this is some great words of wisdom, some advice. But first of all, Russ, if you could give us a little bit about your background, how we know each other, what you've been doing the last few years. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah. So these days I'm an endurance runner, really, endurance athlete. I'd say actually a bit more than just running. But obviously we know each other because I went to Worthing College, played in the football team back in the day. I was a bit here and there with it. But yeah, then we've stayed in contact. I started doing my running stuff. And then we've gone from there, really. So yeah, I'm just, I've done the Asia to London, done the carpool, done the Everest stair climb, and we got plenty more lined up for this year. So it's all guns blazing, really.
You're quite well. We love your social media presence. So again, check it out. Check it out if you can. Hardest geezer.
Good plug.
But again, I'm loving the plugs, mate. Plugs all. It's all about the plugs.
Yeah.
But you're quite a modest guy as well, because you're just going, done the London to Asia, done the carpool, done the Everest climb. Come on, Russ, give us a little bit more, mate, about those challenges and kind of what you had to go through and kind of what mindset you required for those challenges, because you're an extremely modest bloke when it comes to that, mate.
Yeah. So I mean, they were pretty crazy, to be fair. I'd say obviously the Asia to London one was different gravy in terms of it's like 2.5 months long. It took me, I was 70, well, altogether it was 73 marathons in 68 days. So it really was a slog, that one, getting through that. But then obviously the carpool and the stair climb, and like the beerathon and all these other things, when they're sort of one day events, you just keep in the back of your mind that you look back on what you've done before and you've gone, right, I've slogged it out for 70 days before. I can do 24 hours, I can do one day, no problem. So yeah, it does take a lot, but it's you just look back on what you've done and reflect on that and use that for your future things, and you just glide through it, really. I'll try not to go deep too much into things, when I'm just in the moment. I'm like, we'll just get through it, head down.
So what made you do Asia to London? What was kind of the reason behind it? What was going on in the background at home?
Yeah.
Russ, as a guy, I've got a lot of time for you.
Yeah.
But if I was like a betting man, and when you're at college, I'd go, well, are people to do an Asia to London run?
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have been Russ Cook.
No.
So what was kind of the point where you think, right, I'm going to do stuff like this. I'm going to push the body, to its, and mind especially, to its absolute limit.
Yeah. Well, I think so. When I was at college, when we're talking like 17, 18, 19, I had a pretty chaotic lifestyle, really, and I wasn't like having the best of times, really. But then as I got a bit older, I sort of been quite fed up of the whole routine of just monotony. And it got to a point where I was like, I need a change. I need to do something with my life. Like we're here for one shot at this life, and I need to do something with it. So I went traveling. I literally quit all my work, sacked everything off, just went to Africa. Started running there, loads. And then I just met some really inspiring people. Like this Italian guy had been cycling around the world for 6 years camping, and I thought that's mental. What can I do? Like, just got me thinking. And then my running was really picking up. I was really starting to hit the miles, and I was getting quite good at it. And I thought, right, we're going to train to run from Asia to London. And when I first said it, everyone was like, literally all my mates were like, you're going to die. No one, I actually don't think, I could probably count on one hand, less than that, probably two fingers, the amount of people that actually thought I could do it. But then that gives you the hunger in a lot of ways. That all that doubt can feed you, that, makes you hungry. And then once I'd started, there was no way. I'd rather have died than quit. So that's the sort of mindset you've got to carry into something like that, really.
Yeah, spot on, mate. And the other thing that you haven't mentioned yet is that it was pretty much unsupported.
Oh yeah, it was totally unsupported. Apart from the only time you can even say it was slightly supported was when I got to Calais, and I put the treadmill on the ferry. So that, I mean, that's technically supported in it. But apart from that, I was by myself the whole way. I was just meeting people on the way, and just literally ride or die on my ones, like in the forest, and that, just hope for the best.
If there's when everything reopens, and fingers crossed it'll be soon.
Yeah,
Russ is probably a great guy to sit around a table and just listen to all your great stories, mate. In terms of your, especially that adventure.
yeah.
And that's what it is. But kind of, is there a way that you can? And I know you don't dwell on things. And I think that's an important thing that has come through all of these chats so far.
Yeah.
Was there a point on that challenge where you were at the bottom, and what did you kind of do to get yourself out of it? Because if you do get a chance, everyone who's listening, if you look back on, I think they're still there, but you may have saved your stories on Instagram in terms of you were literally covering everything when you could, when you had signal.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
such an interesting watch, and it was so real and at times graphic, and there was the odd little swear word in there, but it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
There were times that you felt you could have got eaten by wolves. There was times where you felt that you were in people's houses that maybe you might not get out of.
Yeah.
So, was there a time where you felt you were right at the bottom, your feet were ripped to bits? I remember seeing those posts. What did you do to get out of it?
There's a couple of moments that I think, when I look back now, are really crucial moments. And I'd say the first one was on day 4. And in the grand scheme of everything that happened, it doesn't sound like something that's too outrageous, but I hadn't slept. So I didn't sleep the first night. I just couldn't sleep. There was weird people in a van next to me, and I had it in my head that they were going to try and kidnap me or something. So I couldn't sleep for the first night. And then the second night I got maybe 1 hour, third night a couple hours. So I was really, we were talking day 4, and I've literally had a handful of hours sleep. So I'm absolutely, like, so tired. I cannot describe. My eyes were like past it. When you get so tired, your eyes are burning. Mine had gone like 2 days past that. So my mind was going in all sorts. And I remember I'd just finished the marathon for the day, and I was about to set up camp. And out of nowhere, the biggest storm, one of the biggest storms I've ever been in, just boom, hits me. There's thunder and lightning. Literally, thunder is crashing, like lightning is crashing. We're talking like 100 meters away from me. I'm like I really, it was quite a moment, because it was so daunting. I'd never been in a moment like that, and I was so tired, and I just didn't know what to do. But then I just packed up all my stuff, just like settled down for a sec, and then as soon as there was like the lightning stopped, I got back up and just made a run for it. And like, getting through that moment was so important, I think, because that was the first moment where I'd truly been tested. Like, it's a true, like, is he going to bottle it? Is he going to, do you know what I mean? Like, you have to, all parts of you are feeling uncomfortable, and you haven't been in this situation before, and you're just kind of thinking, I want to quit. and getting through that was a really important moment. But I'd say the lowest moment was probably just before I hit halfway. After I don't know if it's quite a lot of you have probably heard the prostitute story before in Hungary, but just after that, I was in a public bathroom in Hungary. My feet were torn to shreds, and I hadn't slept. My phone had run out of battery. It was just, I hadn't washed, so I was just in a really bad way, and I didn't know where I was really, because I'd had to run away from this prostitute the night before, so I didn't know where I was, and I had no way of finding out where I was because I didn't have my phone. I remember looking at the mirror and just looking at myself and thinking, yeah, we're up against it here. Like this is the moment when I spent all that time training, thinking about, Rush, you're gonna have to mentally prepare for these moments where you really want to quit, and you're gonna have to not quit, and you're gonna have to say, nah, I'm gonna keep going. I was like, this is the moment. Like, this is the moment where you find out what you're made of and you go for it. And carried on, and made it through that day. And that was a big day. That.
So I just by like listening to that, and as I say, I could listen all day, all night to your story. And obviously, as I said earlier, there's some stories that can't be broadcastable on this, but it's I think the things that I've just taken out of what you've said is there's certain points that are like crossroads.
Yeah.
And you can either go the easy option, which is to probably down tools and barrier up, and I'm not going to do this, or actually it's to grit your teeth, get through this, because there will be a better tomorrow. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's always important to remember as well, these things don't last forever. They're really uncomfortable situations, and the more you dive into them and you lean into them, you go, and you can sense them coming. You go, right, this is going to be a hairy spot, and it makes you either cower away or you go, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? And the more you go, right, let's just have it, then next time it comes up, it's not as big as a deal. You go, yeah, we've been here before. We do this. This is what we do now. So now when I do my challenges now, it's because I've been there mentally so many times before now. If I feel like experienced in the way that I'm just like, cool, we lean into it. We just lean into it every time.
And I know, obviously, because I've followed you closely, mate, because again, I respect what you do, and I think you're absolutely inspirational. But I think, can you think back to that time when you ran down towards the pavilion in Worthing?
Yeah.
And seeing, because to be fair, mate, you had a load of people there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You obviously had your England shirt on.
Yeah.
I love that kit. Classic. You're running down there. And what kind of feelings went through your mind then?
Sure. People ask me this quite a lot, and the sad thing is that I was so exhausted, like in every sense of the word, that I couldn't really appreciate it for what it was at the time. And I have the photos and stuff to look back on, but in my head, I weren't really there. It like when I say that run took everything out of me, it took literally it took everything out of me after about 3 weeks, and then I was just hammering on nothing till the end. But and then by the end, I could barely have a conversation, because I'd barely spoken to anyone for 2.5 months. So like I just remember feeling so strange that I was in Worthing. So I'd run through all of these countries. Every time I'd run over a hill, it'd be some Serbian little village. And then I finally ran over that hill in Shoreham, and I see Worthing. I was just like, it's nuts. Like, and it was just a really surreal feeling, to be honest. But I just couldn't really process anything, because I just hadn't had the time. It just, so much had happened, I couldn't process anything anymore. I was just like mentally just wiped out.
It just shows that how powerful the mind actually is.
Yeah.
In that sense. So obviously, physically you were probably on empty.
Yeah.
Mentally, those things, those crossroads, those kind of easy option, do I go through it? Do I fight? Do I fly?
Yeah.
That shows how strong the mind is.
Yeah.
And obviously, towards the end of our chat, we'll come up, or you'll give us some absolute pearls of wisdom in the sense of hopefully some people can take some stuff out of that forward. But
Yeah.
that was in that was different level.
Yeah.
So obviously, anything, as you said, anything after that potentially is a little bit easier.
Mm.
So, and again, in the sense of how you are and being such a humble bloke, you're also a world record holder.
Yeah.
So tell us about that, because you predicted what you would do,
Yeah.
but you didn't just do that, you absolutely smashed it. So again, what was the prep? What did you do? What was your mindset? All those kind of things. Tell people what you did, mate.
Well, the carpool is an interesting one because so I'd seen Ross Edgley, who, for people that don't know, he's a swimmer, but he's also like I would personally describe him as like he's an Instagram model basically. He's got all the muscles, but they're, it's like a beach body kind of thing. And he'd done the carpool, and it's the carpool marathon. So it's pulling a car for 26 miles, and it's the first guy I'd seen that had done it. I thought that's pretty cool, to be fair. But I thought it took him 19 hours, and I thought, there is, just from what I've done, there is no way that having a body type like that is sufficient to doing a 19-hour endurance event. You need to, it's all wrong. You've got it all wrong. So I was immediately thinking I could definitely beat that in a big way. So I started setting my eyes on it, started training a bit for it. And yeah, just literally just went really well. Like I put on a little bit of weight, started going to the gym a bit. And then when on the day, I wasn't totally sure how it was going to go. I definitely thought I'd beat it, but on the day I ended up basically halving it, halving the time, 9 hours and 56. We did it in. So yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Did enjoy that.
Were there any, because the Asia to London?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know I saw, I think it was yesterday or today or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw your GoPro footage of you jumping in the sea to start everything off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to go from that to this carpool, were there any low moments in the carpool, or were you just literally tunnel vision? This is getting hit out of the park.
Yeah, that was the case, and it really never normally is that. And I wouldn't want anyone to really think that you can turn up to these things and normally just smash it, and it's just straightforward as that. But the carpool actually was, in that weird circumstance, it was just start fast, push the pace, and basically I was just thinking I'm going to cling on to this pace for as long as I can, and it never really fell off. So yeah, it was just head down and get through it. But see, when you say like 10 hours of just head down getting through it, sounds like a lot. But then it's like what I said before, it's like you compare that to 73 days of head down, get through it. 10 hours is all of a sudden nothing. Do you know what I mean? 10 hours. So yeah, it's cool. We can do this. No problem.
It's just interesting to see how you put it in your mind.
Yeah.
Like, if you can get through, this certain amount of time, because I've done that before. So
Yeah.
you've gone back to your past experiences,
Yeah.
and obviously, that's probably something we can take away from that.
Yeah.
In this current situation, right? It's almost been a year.
Yeah.
My thing is, if we can cope with this,
Exactly.
we can cope with most things.
Yeah.
And I think, and even if, because I know there's going to be people out there listening that haven't coped well with this, and trust me, we've all had bad days. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're exactly the same, mate. When you're, we follow each other on Strava, and you'll see, I do my pony cycle every week, 30k. You're smashing, 10k weighted vest in the freezing cold all the time.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. But there's obviously, there are down days. But I think, honestly, if we look back on this, we can get through anything. And it's just interesting, and this is my next question for you, Russ, in the sense of, I know you have big plans. You
Yeah.
had plans. You still have big plans, but did they change during lockdown? And if they did, how did they change? And what did you do in the mind to kind of think, well, this is okay because we will get through it? And what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, I had really big plans for last year. I wanted to break the world record for the most countries ran through in a week. Obviously, that's got derailed. I wanted to run across Australia. That got derailed. So yeah, uh, it was a lot of figuring. Initially, it's just figuring out, because you did the first lockdown. I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a couple of months, so it's just delaying everything a couple of months. And then obviously, the later on in the year it's got, you realize, all right, this is continuing. So you just have to adapt your plans. But you can always, there's always a positive to be had out of a negative situation. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, oh, lockdown's been really positive, it's been great. It's not. It's been absolutely terrible. I've hated it. It's been really frustrating. But you can always take a positive from it, because you go, right, we've had a really bad year, but then you can draw on those experiences. And this is what I do all the time with all my things. You go through something that's hard, and then it makes you a better person, because it gives you something to draw on. The next time you face something hard, you go, all right, we've been here before. Whereas if you're going through something hard and you've never been through something hard before, then, you know, something challenging comes up and you go, you know, don't fancy this one. This is strange. Don't like this. Whereas, you know, once you've been through it a few times, you go, all right, this is what it is. We accept it, and we adapt, we overcome, we move on.
Yeah, I keep saying it to everyone that I'm working with currently, is that this ain't a great situation. Not gonna lie, you know, my kids being at home, my wife not working, I'm having to work from my bedroom. Hopefully that'll change very soon. But this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to kind of reflect, see what's been, you know. So, for example, as a family, you know, we've massively reflected on a few things. We've changed little bits of, you know, obviously because we've been fortunate to be within a close knit family group.
Yeah.
Just in general, it's an opportunity to look at things and see how we can get better.
Yeah.
And as you quite rightly say, it's about drawing on the experience. Like, you know, there'll be people out there, and I will ask you for some little nuggets of advice in a minute, but there'll be people out there that kind of, you know, have taken lockdown badly.
Yeah.
On the majority. But there's still time to be able to turn that into an opportunity. And it's like, you know, I talk at home and I have a bit of a laugh and a joke about these Karens on Facebook that kind of like put rumors on there and this, that, and the other about stuff. But at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control.
Exactly.
And at the moment for me, it's, I can control, you know, I'm not in class at the moment. I'm not being able to coach, but what can I do?
Yeah.
It's all these different things and these different things that we've done that you can do, and you can control yourself and how you develop yourself. And I know it's probably easy for me and you to say, because on the whole, you know, we're relatively positive people. But if there's one thing, you know, I think it's that opportunity to then, when we come out of it, to be absolutely firing. And you know, like you kept yourself ticking over, obviously more than most, but it's just those little things. What can you control? And that's really important to me.
It's like you can look at it two ways, really. You can sit here and you can whinge and you can moan about how terrible it is and how it's ruined this part of your life, and you can't do this, you can't do that. Or you can go, right, this is a situation we're in. How can I improve myself? How can I better my situation? And it's much more healthy to look at it the second way. So that's what I try and do as much as possible. Obviously, you're going to slip into those moments where you're just sat there going, and you know, this is so frustrating. Why are we doing this? Why do we not do that? But on the whole, you know, you can either whinge and moan, or you can just get on with it and make the best of the situation, I think.
And just to add to that, mate, I think it's important, like, and I'm sure you have it, because I know I have it.
Yeah.
And it's a fact of, don't punish yourself if you have a bad day and you don't do anything in one day.
No.
You know, it is. I know that probably, you know, similar-ish mindsets. I ain't got the mindset that you got, by the way. Jesus Christ, you're different level, mate, and I love you for it. But it's just, don't knock yourself if you don't do something for one day.
Yeah.
You know, there's the old adage that it takes 21 days or something like that to create a habit.
Yeah.
Just keep doing little bits, daily, little tiny bits that then, you know, as I'm sure, obviously, your challenge, Asia to London, that then become habitual. It was like in the mindset, I've got to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this today. I'm going to do this today. You know, this is my minimum requirement. X, Y, Z. Obviously, it's on a bit more of a grander scale than what we would be dealing with right now.
yeah.
So just
Well,
to
it's
kind
like
of finish, yeah, go on, mate.
you don't have to look at it like you have to be perfect 100% of the time. You just have to be doing the right things more than you're not doing the right things. And then, you know, over a grand scale, you're improving still. And that's the aim of the game, really, isn't it? You just wake up every day and think, right, try and improve a little bit better than yesterday, a little bit better than last month, a little bit better than last year. And then, you know, you're on the right road then, aren't you?
Exactly. So, you know, as I said, I could talk to you all day. You know, I
Yeah,
love talking to you. I love, you know, picking your brains about stuff. But just to kind of to conclude, um, what bits of advice would you give for people I currently work with or younger? Because again,
yeah.
you know, it's impacting a lot on everyone really, but in particular in education and sport, like year 11s, year 12s, year 13s. So what kind of advice would you give them currently from your own experiences? And then secondly, I'm going to flip this because I've asked everyone
Yeah.
pretty much this, you know, what advice would you give to your, and I know there's a big change from when you were
Yeah.
17, but what advice would you give your 17-year-old self?
Um, so I'd say some advice I'd give to like students like 17, 18, that sort of 16, 17, 18, that's the sort of age in it. I'd say in terms of, you know, like motivation stuff, it's quite hard to be motivated through these times. I would say one thing that's really important is to set your goals, get your goals set in place, and create like a plan of how you're going to um, get to that goal and stick to it as best as you can. But also, I'd say what is really important, and I do this sometimes is so I've been injured for a week or something, or something's been happening. I haven't trained for a couple of weeks. I will sometimes think, right, I've missed a couple of weeks. I need to go and hit these next few weeks really like harder than ever before to make up for it. Where really you're much better off taking stock of where you're actually at. And sometimes it ain't pretty. Sometimes, you know, if you've been out for a while, I might be looking at a run and thinking I used to be able to smash this, but now I've had a couple of weeks off and it's a bit of a struggle. So you take stock of where you're at and set your plans accordingly, because the worst thing, and I think this kills a lot of people, is burning out. If and it happens to everyone. Like you'll get that burst of motivation, you just want to smash it, but then you will associate things like running with just a bad time because it's a big struggle to do it. So it's about building healthy relationships with things that are good for you, like running, and doing your exercise and doing even your college work and stuff like that. Building a healthy relationship with it so that you don't go into these things with a negative mindset from the start, because it will build anxiety and all that, and then you don't want to do it. So that'd be my advice for the college students. My advice for 17-year-old me, Jesus Christ, I'd need a lot of advice. Would probably just be, um, well, do you know what? I'm hesitant to give myself too much advice because it all worked out in the end. Do you know what I mean? All
Yeah,
worked out in the end. Probably just calm down. Probably just calm down. Like when I was that age, I was so keen to make a good life for myself that I would just be burning out at every opportunity, because I'd get these bursts and be like, right, I'm doing this, but then it would all come crashing down, and I'd be like, oh, do you know what I mean?
mm,
Failed at that. Right, well, what am I going to do now? Whereas, like, just calm down. You've got it. Things are going to work out. So just relax on it, is what I'd probably say to myself.
no, I love that, mate, and you know, I love the fact of, you know, again, you've had an experience of being in a certain place and you
Yeah,
kind of changed your mindset and your attitudes. And I think the advice you've given across there is very much linked to anyone of differing, you know, situations. I did say we would mention this just
yeah.
because of, you know, I know someone will be listening, but Russ, you do still put the boots on from time to time.
Still, I've still
Uh,
got it a little bit. I've still
uh,
got a little engine room now. Engine room.
so yeah, I heard you play in the middle of the park,
Yeah,
which just to finish off, just a bit of fun.
yeah,
Um, I know there was games going on before lockdown. I heard you did something quite, quite, I don't know.
Bit out there, a little
Yeah, a
bit.
bit out there. So just tell me through it and name and shame, please,
So
because
Jimmy Punter, my boy, we had a nice little game. Rolled back the years. Well, me and Jimmy used to play together quite a lot. We played together at Worthing College as well. But yeah, I mean, we did end up getting a bit battered by his team. But the main takeaway from the game is that I did get a nice little glorious chip over the boy Jimmy Punter, and I loved every second of it. I hope you're doing well, Jim.
so yeah, just brilliant. Love you, Jim. Well, I had to get that one in because, as I say, I do remember you coming in and telling us about it, and it was a little cheeky finish. So again, it's been great to talk to you, Russ.
Yeah,
Guys, girls, check him out. He's real. He's out there. He loves it. Some of his challenges are off the wall. Big things coming next. And if when things are back open, you'll be in talking to my students definitely, because you're an inspiration, and obviously we love our alumni. So take care, mate, and thanks once again.
nice one. Cheers for having me, Dave.
No worries, mate.
Sweet.